So goals are just tools. They're tools to help you accomplish your purpose. The goal is not the most important thing. The purpose is the most important thing. Today we're going to see if we can discuss the difference between goals and purpose. Hi, and welcome back to 1 Million Cats, where we're building a community of 1 million people around the world who want to ask the big question, what is the one thing they can't do right now that if they could, they would feel as though they're fully living the life they were put on this planet to live, and then inspire them to go out there and do that one big thing. So a couple of years ago, I allowed my son to talk me into a skateboard trip. Now, I hadn't ridden a skateboard in 38 years, but seemed like a good idea, so we went for it. We took skateboards down to Washington, D.C., and we rode them 600 miles north to Ottawa, Canada. In other words, capital to capital. Now, there were two aspects of this adventure. Number one was the goal, and that was to see if we could ride skateboards 600 miles. Number two was the purpose, and that was to have an adventure with my son. And very quickly into the whole thing, we suddenly realized that the goal of riding the skateboard the entire distance was just not realistic. I mean, how could we know? We hadn't done this before. I couldn't find anybody online that had ever done this before, so we were the first ones trying it. So pretty soon, about 50 or 60 miles in, we realized there were roads we just could not ride skateboards on. So we either had to walk, or in some places, even had to hitch a ride for a half a dozen miles or so just to get through some tough spots. So by the time we finally did get up to Canada, about 600 miles later, we had skated about 530 miles or so. The remainder were made up of walking, just carrying the boards, and or in some places, like I say, hitchhiking. Now, it wasn't an easy decision the first time we stuck our thumbs out and decided to hitchhike, because it did mean abandoning the original goal. And that's when I had to start thinking to myself, now what is the purpose of this thing? The purpose is to have an adventure. And if we stuck to the goal of riding the skateboards the entire distance, odds were very high that we would have gotten into an accident. We would have caused an accident and been a danger to ourselves, and more importantly, been a danger to other road users. So very quickly we decided the most important thing to do was to maintain the purpose, to have an adventure. And that was going to mean changing the goals a little bit. Skating as much as we possibly could, walking up hills where we had to, and during places where the traffic was really dangerous, sticking out a thumb and hitchhiking. And you know what? Some of those hitches were almost as dangerous as the actual skating, which added to the adventure, which was the purpose of the whole thing, to have an adventure with my son. So the takeaway is very simply this: the next time you catch yourself just sticking to a goal because you know you don't abandon goals, ask yourself, am I using this goal as a tool to get to my purpose? Because remember, the purpose is the most important thing. The purpose is the thing you don't want to abandon. The goal, you can switch goals in and out because goals are simply tools. Just like a carpenter. If one saw is not working, use a different saw. Goals can be switched out just like tools. Hey, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, we'll see you back here next week for another one. In the meantime, don't forget, go do something big.